Welcome to Normalize You, your place to help us redefine normal. I'll be your host and your moderator, and I'll be here to help the world understand you and to help you understand the world. I just have two questions for you. What does the word normal mean to you? And how's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Normalize You. Today, a little bit of a special occasion. We're gonna do things a little different this time, and for this month, we're gonna.
Yep, so that's enough of that. Hi, everybody. So we cut them off. This is for Women's History Month, which means it's a Taylor Takeover month. I'm taking over. Woohoo! Yay for all the ladies. They're gonna have to answer more questions this time. So like he said, we're gonna do this a little different this month, celebrating Women's History. And as I happen to be the only woman currently on the channel, I decided it was gonna be my takeover. And I kind of made them get in line. Total jokes. They all agreed. But so
For the
I'm
record, I didn't agree with anything. For the record,
you're still here, so you agreed. There you go. I'm gonna start off with kind of a scenario that I think a lot of women have heard before or seen before. You ask a guy pretty much, what he looks for in a woman. It could be a woman that's a friend. It could be, woman that's going to be more than a friend. But sometimes, somehow, some way, there always comes up the point of the woman has to know how to cook. Comes up every time. Even if you're just talking about a friend, it comes up. So I thought that was pretty interesting to kind of start this conversation to be, how are we still applying gender roles? Like, their gender roles still be as specific as they have been in the past? Why is everybody ready? Or should the gender roles that we described before switch? So you can start off with answering, what you say you look for in a woman and why it matters whether or not she cooks, or just whether that should be a gender role at all. But we're going to start this off with gender roles, and this is not necessarily specific to just romantic relationships. I saw Mike first, so I'm going to Mike.
Petty. But firstly, what I look for in a woman is like if you understand like the difference between traditional and independent, like as an independent, confident woman, cool. As long as you got that confidence, I'm gonna do all that cooking. I will gladly do all that cooking. That's not just me speaking as a professional cook. That's just not me speaking as a cook, because I would definitely do all the cooking. But it will be a plus if I come home from work and you know how to cook and it is ready. That is just a plus. But it's not really necessary when it comes to gender roles and partnership for home. But Jeff?
All right. I'm going to come back to that because I have a follow-up question to you. But Jeff, go ahead.
so are you specifically talking about just cooking in itself, or can I like elaborate a little bit deeper into my beliefs?
You can go deeper.
All right, bet. Ooh, this is the perfect time for That's What She Said, but it's Women's History Month, so I believe
History Month, let it go. I saw it too. Let it go. I saw it. I heard it. Let it go.
They're staying in the episode.
I know it is. Let it go.
So, my belief on gender roles, it's a I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have my similar take on it. It's just a lot of people don't want to open up and be honest about it, because a lot of people think with submission comes like full codependence. Not codependence, but full dependence, where it's like, if I submit to you, that means you like have full ownership over me and what I do. And in my opinion, that's not true. So for me, a lot of the money makers in my family have been the women. So I'm used to, the women being the ones that are more like responsible when it comes to certain things. And with that taught me how to just kind of fall in line, in a sense, where it's like, in a relationship, you know what you do. You know what you do well. You also know what you don't do well. And the whole point of relationships are to find that other half of you. And if you're willing to, kind of like coexist and help each other out, in my opinion, there's no such thing as a gender role. Like, yeah, like as a man, I'm naturally, better at putting stuff together and being protective and everything like that. But that's just how I was raised. But that's not to say that like I can't do anything else. Like I like to cook. I don't mind cleaning. I actually kind of like cleaning because I know it's clean. But based on like my work schedule and stuff, it's kind of hard for me to come in the house and like clean or anything like that or cook. So it's all about who has the most time to do it. Like if you looking at your partner and be like, dang, they did work all day, let me cook for them. There's no gender behind that. It's just you're the one cooking. Same thing with cleaning. It's like, and a lot of times, not to be long-winded, but a lot of times, you can do a lot of stuff together. Like you cook, I wash the dishes, or you cook, I season the food, or you wash the dishes, I dry them, or you put the laundry in the washer and dryer, and I fold them. It's like, we can fold them together. It's a lot of times, like I said, we lose that identity of being one, and we think that because we're able to submit to somebody else, it automatically makes us lesser.
Go ahead, Darian. You ain't
Okay.
missing out on this question. I'm getting everybody.
A lot of the points that I actually wanted to bring up, Jeff said, but I did kind of want to elaborate on one part that he said as far as submission. A lot of people confuse submission with subservience. So I want to start off with that. Being submissive is not the same as being subservient. Subservient is you're basically a servant. Submissive means you still have a viewpoint to give, you still have some type of perspective, but you still have that ability to fall in line when needed. That doesn't mean your voice goes unheard. So I just wanted to start off by saying that.
So with you saying that, are you saying like you would prefer a woman to be submissive versus subservient? Because you're getting into it, so.
Yes, I prefer submissiveness over subservience. I don't want someone who's subservient. Just like I wouldn't want a friend who's a yes man. Like, don't just yes me all day and be all up my butt saying, "Oh, I'm doing everything you want," because then I'm going to feel like I'm the bully. No. If you want me to lead, follow. But when I put my foot down, respect that call. Now that we're moving past that submissiveness versus subservient, I do and I don't believe in gender roles. And the reason that is, yeah, as far as me, what I would look for, yeah, I would look for a woman that knows how to cook, that knows how to clean. And the reason that is because those are general life skills. Why wouldn't I want a woman who can do that? Why I would want to do that same thing. Like I want my woman to be able to do the same things I can as if we weren't together. You need to be able to have those life skills because that's what they are. They're life skills. That way, let's say I come home from work first and she gets home later, yeah, I'll be the one that cooks. Or if she gets home first and I come home later, yeah, she can cook. We can play off of it. It's dependent on who's what and where in the timing of things. That way we can both contribute equally to that dynamic.
All right, I know Mike and Jeff was putting their fingers up like we in church. So Jeff.
Well, I can't be rude now, can
Go
I?
ahead.
No, it's like I get what you're saying, Darian, when it comes to that. And a lot of times I feel like it's a bit of an insecurity where it's like a lot of people think that, like I said, it's always about what other people think about how other people think. And that's why I'm saying a lot of times this light is annoying. I thought it was gonna be all right. Um, a lot of times, in my experience when it comes to like people I know and like I said, nobody just wants to conform to the idea that you're no longer like by yourself. So if you feel like you have the ability or the know-how to do said thing, just do said thing. And like I said before, it always falls back down to somebody always feeling like they're being taken advantage of, or I'm not appreciated enough. And I'm like, if you care about your partner, why does it matter what you do in the house? That's your house. You got that together. Whether you did or not, you live under the same roof. Um, y'all been through everything thick and thin. Like, why does it matter? Like, who does what? If I come in the house and I decide to do everything all day, that's not me later saying, "Hey, you need to do this because I did this." It's like I did it because I care about you. So why don't you want to do the same thing because you care about me? Sometimes it is about who feels worse. We're like, if you feel worse than me and you're usually the one that cooks, why can't I cook? Or I could just be in a good mood and be like, you know what? I'm coming home today. I'm in a good mood. I'm energetic. Let me cook. Let me clean. You sit down and relax. And that can go for anybody, both the woman or the man in the relationship. At the end of the day, people think that relationships are 50-50. They're not. Relationships are 100%, 100%. I have to give you my entirety and you should give me your entirety. I'm not there just to fill in the gaps. I'm there knowing that I can fill in the gaps. And because I lack the quality, like for me, it's like my memory is not always, well, I remember events and moments. But when it comes to like dates, times, I wouldn't even know my own like age if a lot of people didn't remind me it was my birthday. That's how I am. So dates don't matter to me. So if I'm with somebody that has a good understanding of organization, oh, that's perfect because I will never do it. But because you're willing to make that sacrifice for me to give me that attentiveness to attention and the time, oh, by all means, lay in the bed today. I got you. Cook. I'm cleaning. Sit down. Do nothing. Watch a TV show. Whatever. Let me know if you need anything. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Mike, I know you had your hand up before I kind of divert a little bit.
Yeah, my thing was the whole gender role things. I always had this belief that, give me a second. I always had this belief that gender roles, it blatantly and indirectly eliminates independence. Go and pick it up. Independence and codependency all at once. Where it goes back to what Darion and Jeff said about, the whole when you have a partner and you live under the same roof, where it should be 100, 100, just in case that partner cannot give 100. Like if you only at 80%, I should know to give 120, right? Or in terms of being submissive, because men can also be submissive. It just depends on if you know that your gender role isn't submissive, there's going to be a problem with that role for that gender. Like, so that eliminates, in terms of what Jeff said of cooking and cleaning. I'm going to cook and clean whether or not I'm in a good mood. That's just me personally. But if I do get to a point where my brain acknowledges, man, I've been cooking all week, I've been cleaning all week, it should be a part where if you are submissive or not, as a leader, it's not a song time. Give me a second, man. As a leader, you should acknowledge that, all right, this person's tired. This person did do this. Because I've been hit like that, even with just co-parenting. I've been looked at in the face of, hey, you already did this, I'll do this now. Or you do this and I'll do this now. Then as a partner, submissive or independent or codependent, you should acknowledge that and return it when the opportunity comes again in terms of gender role and partnership.
I just want to say this one thing, and then we can like tell you what you want to do. But um, a household shouldn't have favors. That's as simple as I want to keep it. Household shouldn't have favors. I should do stuff for you because I love you and I care about you. Shoot, I tolerate you, and vice versa. I'm sure people tolerate me. So, and I would never do nothing in regards to what you did for me. It's like I do it because I care about you. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the same roof. So, household shouldn't have favors.
Okay.
So go ahead. Y'all
I
trying to take
did
over because y'all finally got time. I get it.
I did have something I wanted to say about the whole 50-50 rule.
hmm
I actually do believe in it. But here's my take on it. I don't believe in it as far as the perspective of, oh, I pay half the bills and you pay half the bills. No. If I know I'm paying the bills, cool. I'm paying the bills. When I come home, help me make this home comfortable. That just in itself, while I'm paying all the bills and you making the home comfortable, that I pay the bills to for us to stay there, yeah, that could be looked at as 50-50 as well. Let's say let's say you wake the kids up, you get them ready for school. When they come home, I'm there to help them with the homework. I'm there to help them with all the after school activities and all that. That can be looked at as 50-50 as well. Because when you really think about it, if we both meeting halfway, we're still coming to a point to where we can meet. If I give 60, you give 40. Even if I give 100 and you give 100, we're still giving what we have that we can give the most in that situation. It's not just about, oh, I do half of this and you do half of that and we call it even. No. Picking up the slack where your partner leaves off, that in itself is 50-50. Regardless of who's giving more or who's giving less, as long as y'all can meet at a point to where it's compatible, cohesive, and coherent, then it shouldn't even matter. As long as y'all can function together.
Now, Mike, I see you about to say something, but before you say something, I'm gonna throw another question at you, and you know what? You're just in the hot seat today because you jumped up first. But so one thing you said, Mike, that actually goes into my other point was that while you're the cook, while like outside of you being a professional cook and you like cooking, it would still be a plus if when you came home, food was on the table and it was hot and ready. My follow-up to that leads me into my second point is, what if she's the one coming home from work? What if she's the primary breadwinner? So one thing about gender roles that has come up a lot in today's time is kind of the fact that women are taking on more of being the primary breadwinner in a household. So when that primary breadwinner is the woman, and you all said you don't believe in gender roles in some way and form, how does that now look if you're the one that's not the primary breadwinner? So
Nah, no, I'm going first. Right?
You're not.
Mine quick. Nah, I'm joking. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead, Leah.
all right. So I'm glad you asked that because my answer is a response, question, and statement to what Darion said. All right. So Darion, because you believe that, but not believe, because you are into having a submissive partner, right? You might want to eliminate 50-50 overall because a submissive woman will be submissive if that man under that roof is going 100% financially. That's socially. You can't even debate that one. And same as to answer your question, Taylor, as the man, I'm saying because I had to say that because, and as the man who also has come home first, again, like I said the statement earlier, I've had to acknowledge that and return it. Not just because it was done, but the fact that I gotta eat too. I gotta be in this clean environment as well. But also, I legitimately I don't acknowledge gender roles because of independence. Like, chances are, you know that question, what you gonna bring to the table? I probably built the table, so don't ask what I'm gonna bring to it if I know I put it here. That's just
Well, let me
my
push
role.
back on that a little bit. Like, let's say in this circumstance, let's assume that you guys are all lucky enough to have a woman that is 100% covering the finances.
Like I said,
Now, when that happens, which is happening a lot more in today's society, so it's perfect to bring it up during Women's History Month. Like when that woman is taking over that traditional man role of taking over 100% of the finances, as a man, how are you handling that? Are you
look, I've been working
are
since
you
all right.
pissed off? Are you gonna take on those traditional
I got
women
you.
roles? What you got to do?
As a
Like I
man,
said, everybody, hold on, Darian, hold on. I gotta look at the finger. Out of everybody that I know, it go for you, a woman, you're a man. Look, I've been in everybody's life in a sense of like support. And, you know, just anytime you need me, I'm always in your corner. I try my best to never let people down. Hopefully I haven't. But with all that being said, all these kind remarks I make to my friends and all these kind remarks I kind of pat myself on the back for. Any of my friends make it big, I'm riding coattails. I don't care what's going on. I've been working since I was young. Like if my wife or my life partner or whatever we decide to consider ourselves come home and says, "Hey, look, I got X amount of money. Feel free." First of all, me personally, even if I was given the ability to, I mean, I was joking about the riding coattails part, but if I was given the ability to stay at home, like I have a lot of dreams and aspirations when it comes to like outside of my daily job. So I would then be able to focus more on my hobbies. I'd be able to focus more on my tasks. I'd be able to focus more on this platform. You know what I'm saying? So there's no fall off if someone ever granted me the opportunity to stay at home. But also with that being said, it's a matter of respect because even as a male, you come in a house, you could be disrespectful with how you dictate your house just because you're the breadwinner. Nobody, like at the end of the day, you both are working towards that money. And I look at it like this. Just because I'm physically getting up every single day, going to work, that doesn't only fall on my shoulders. You as my partner, you are supposed to, and I'm using the word supposed to, motivate me to do that. So when I go to work and I'm not hungry, when I go to work and I'm not tired, when I go to work and I'm entertained all day, I'm kept in a good mood, kept in good spirits because you text me or call me, you know, whenever we can. That's super beneficial to my work ethic. Support goes a long way. So even if the roles are reversed, my woman goes to work, cool. I'm home all day. That means that the things that are usually in the way should no longer be in the way. You got trash on the floor, clean it up. Sink dirty, clean it up. Food, you know, cook, if you're gonna cook food, cook. If you're not, order it, but order it, you know, based on the schedule, either when they get there or after they finish their activity, so you can time that right. But like I said before, it's more of a motivational thing. Anybody could win. Anybody could win in the household because if one of y'all win, both of y'all win. And all you're trying to do in your household is build a kingdom. If y'all can build it together, then hey, hats off to you.
Now,
Yeah.
as the man, me primarily, regardless of who the primary breadwinner is, if I can afford to make sure the bills are taken care of, that's what I'm gonna do. Now this is a saying that I have that I literally try to put into practice as much as possible. You can have the final word, but my word is final. Now, that doesn't mean that, oh, you have absolutely no say in what goes on whatsoever. If you have a better idea, by all means, I'm going to go with the better idea, but I'm just signing off on it. I'm not, that doesn't mean like, oh, well, you want to do this, I want to do that. Your way is better. Okay, cool. We're going to do it your way. I'm signing off on that.
So
But
with that still, are you done? You done?
yeah, go ahead.
No, you sure? 'Cause I ain't mean to cut you off. You
Oh,
paused
it's
for a second. I thought you were
hilarious to
done.
see y'all cut each other off. This is great.
Yeah, that was my fault.
There wasn't really much to say after that. So.
It's
Okay.
okay. As long as it doesn't happen to just me. We good.
So, first of all, y'all be cutting me off like crazy. But my question to you, Darion, actually is kind of not necessarily a counterpoint, but I guess an alternative perspective, but it's still a question. Um, Although I understand because everybody has their own rules with their household, can you clarify a little bit to me? Like, what do you like? How does that correlate to what she was saying in the sense of like, if your woman, like solely your partner came and was not came, but she was the breadwinner, like she specifically was the one that was providing for you in the same sense of like everything you're saying as a provider, flip the roles where everything you're saying is your requirement. What if that was hers?
Honestly, I wouldn't. Okay, so is this sound
Can I
like
answer
Paying
it? Can I
mortgage,
answer it?
she
Well,
paying
I'll
no?
have him
mortgage.
answer because I was more so asking him.
Oh, because I have the actual answer, even if he can't
Well, you
answer it.
can
I have
answer
the
for
actual.
Darion.
He's asking for my perspective,
Yeah,
sir.
Oh,
you can
yeah,
answer. You
exactly.
can answer after if Taylor, doesn't move on. You can answer it after. But I was asking Darion specifically because I want to give a little bit of a pushback a little bit.
Okay, so are you asking that as in the sense that I'm not providing, or that she's just able to provide more?
She's the
Provide.
primary provider.
You're not
Okay.
really providing like any, let's say it like this, let's make it more specific. Let's say
Okay.
all your money is essentially just to either go to on trips, to do extra things for your hobby or something small like that. But when it comes to who takes care, who pays the mortgage, who pays the lights, who pays the groceries, who pays the medical insurance, the co-pays, like all that part, your money is to be saved for retirement, put in a bank account, or to go on some fancy trip somewhere. That's it.
Honestly, for me personally, that would have to be a situation that we agreed upon at the beginning.
Bro, it is the situation.
Hold on. But I wouldn't put myself in that position because I wouldn't feel.
It is the situation.
Hold on.
No, I
I
get.
would not
Come
feel
on,
comfortable
Jeff.
in that situation. But
That's what I was getting to.
if it were the case, it would have to be something that was agreed upon. So yeah, I
So
would
let
say,
me ask
okay,
this
well,
question, Darian. I'm gonna cut you off because that's what I wanted you to say the whole time. Why would you not be comfortable with a woman being the primary breadwinner? I was trying to get one of y'all to say it, but I appreciate you stepping forward. I was trying to get Mike, he fell for it. It's cool. But why would you want? Why would you not be comfortable with a woman being the primary breadwinner in your household?
because
Not
that is
saying
the
that's
role.
wrong for you to say. I just want to know why.
Because that is the role that I have personally designated for myself. That's why. It has nothing to do with her, it has nothing to do with me. That is just the role I designated for myself, regardless of what's going on. That's just what I'm choosing to do. That's the role I'm choosing to play. That's why.
Mike, because you've been having an amen moment over there.
All right, so this is why I didn't fall for it, right? Because even Jeff could vouch for this at some point in time. When I first became a father, right, I
Mm-hmm.
made the decision to be a stay-at-home dad. So guess what I gave up? It's okay. I gave up that initiative role, which means besides the fact that even when I was working full time before fatherhood, I was doing cooking, cleaning, this, that, and the third, financially with each realm, right? When I became a stay-at-home dad, for one, it's tough as a man. So Darian, I give you that one. It's tough. But when you have to become the exact role of submissive, it is tougher because as a natural masculine being, you have to learn to be the other gender role if you haven't been, which is why I spoke on independence when I first answered the question. So it's like I 100% get the setup that she did with her questions. But Darian, you shouldn't have walked through that door like that. But
I did it
but
intentionally.
look, you right
No,
though.
he needed
But
to. He needed
but
to.
look, but he did though. The fact that he also ended his statement with it was his choice is why I was like, all right, cool, because I've made the choice personally, and it is a balanced choice. It ain't really a gender role. You like once you get into it, you gotta accept it, and then you gotta become your patient self with your patience. You gotta become your inferior self with your vulnerability as a man. So I'm speaking from like a male's perspective and as a man. So you have to get into these vulnerable states where you have to demasculate yourself without showing it. You understand? So like when they come home as that breadwinner, right? That kitchen better be clean. It don't have to be cooking, but you might want to have something ready. It better be cleaned around the house. It better be a foundation that's worth continuing to come home to. Same as you as a man. You want to come home to a clean home. You want to come home to this peaceful environment. The same as how Jeff at work, when you want them text messages, that's motivation. So when you come home, you know that every day you coming home as a breadwinner to a clean home. You can come home and rest. You can come home and kick back. You can come home and have them conversations. So yes, as a man, I've been in that position. So I'm not about to sit here and be like, nah, gender role is this, because I've been on each side of the road except the genital part. So I'm all right, but
Let me
I
do
really
a little
don't do the
pushback.
gender role
I know
thing.
I know somebody else might have something to say, but let me do a little pushback. Is it
All right.
demasculation though for you to do that? is that actually demasculating, or is that just support that society has said is demasculation?
That's my perspective, simply because I chose to demasculate myself and learn to become vulnerable. Because same as Jeff has told me several times, it's like my son's mother has told me several times, my mom has told me times that I could come off strong, meaning stern or blatant or brutally honest, however society want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told repeatedly. So when I became a stay-at-home dad, I had to learn to become the gentle side of a gentleman. You see what I'm saying? I was already there morally. All right. I was already there, like, what's the word? Chivalrous wise, right? And like just morally and I guess in any type of positive way, or I'm gonna say superior way, as a role model. But personally, I've been on both sides of that other gender role as a man. So it's like once you make that choice, you gotta understand what you bring in, what you like, what you waiting for, and what you're going to do with the outcome of choosing a gender role environment.
Yeah, and for me, it's like I feel like, as I said before, everything just it falls into a security and an insecurity. It's like as long as you're secure with yourself, and it goes for anybody. Anybody has to have understanding of how their emotions work before you become dependent on someone. You know, that goes for anybody. Like even if someone depends on me wholeheartedly, that's them pretty much admitting to that. And in order to admit to that, you have to let go of your insecurities. And vice versa. If I had to depend on somebody, I would have to let go of my insecurities because you gotta walk around and think, oh man, what does everyone else think of me being who I am? Just all of a sudden sitting back and riding coattails. Well, not necessarily riding coattails, 'cause that's more so being dragged along, but more so in the sense of like no longer being a provider. And for that, I say it doesn't matter. Like your partner is your partner. It's not for anyone else. It's your partner. And if your partner's willing to provide that lifestyle for you, then I say it's nothing wrong with it. It's not for you to explain to anybody else. It's not for anyone else to have an opinion about, especially when it comes to like how it affects you. It's like that's just how it is. Like I don't necessarily believe in things have to be done when you come home, but I do believe that if there are simple things around the house. First of all, you're in the house all day. Why would you not want to do something? Whether it be a hobby, whether it be education, whether it be physically cleaning up, whether it be your own project, whether it be art, it could just be anything. It's just a matter of like, why would you want to sit in the house? But at the same exact time, like and it also depends on where you live at too, because you can live in an area where it's like you've been able to keep your house clean, but you live in a rough area. Like let's say that. So bugs, mice, uninvited guests can always be a problem. And if you know that your sink is full of stuff, or you know that the floor is full of stuff, you know that the trash can is full of stuff, you know that the kitchen, the fridge is full of stuff, the sink is like, why not take it upon yourself to just go ahead and take care of it? So like I said, that's not a gender role for me. That's more of a who's around it, who sees it. You know the rule, whoever smelt it, dealt it, like the first person that smelt it, dealt it. Why is that not the same rule? Why is that rule not applied to the household? Where it's like, if you're home, then do something about it. Hold on. Because for me, it's like, no, a lot of people in my family didn't know I can cook. Right? They had no idea I can cook. But anybody that really has stayed with me, like whether I spend out of your house, you've lived with me for a little bit, you know I can cook. So it's like, it's just a matter of like, whenever I was living with the people that didn't know I could cook, it was always, I'm out somewhere, I'm doing something, always traveling. But when I'm home, those people that know me know I can cook because when I'm comfortable, when I'm energetic, I'm in a good mood, I'm in a great mood. Even if I'm not in a great mood, if I'm in a better mood than you are, I got you. We cook. What you want me to cook today? Got you. Beef and broccoli, steak, anything. You vegetarian today? You pescatarian? I got you. You know, it's just whatever it is you want. It's like I got it, and it's all a matter of like I'm just more equipped for this moment. You're muted. Welcome to my world. Yeah,
Darion, did you want to chime in before my screen?
it's hard, ain't it?
Yeah. And this is going to sound maybe a bit counterproductive to my previous point, but
Uh-oh. Let's go.
my perspective is not more so to say, "Hey, I'm in charge. This is how things are going to go," but it's more so to say, "Hey, whoever's in a better position to make this happen, do it." Now, of course, if you have a certain role that you're comfortable with, go ahead. But we have to have that understanding that, hey, this is how things are going to go. And that's where communication comes into play. And not just communication, but comprehension as well. Like that's everybody's role. It's everybody's role to communicate. It's everybody's role to comprehend what your partner is either going through or trying to communicate with you. That one's not even a gender role. That's just a human role.
Go ahead, Mike.
Honestly, between the three of y'all, just having y'all little talk, y'all answered the questions. So the questions went away once I started nodding. I was like, okay, they kept it going. I told you once I answered your question, that was it. I was on the listening side. I ain't got no opinion on this one. Like that's a solid response. Like starting from when Jeff responded and you asked the other questions, like I ain't got nothing.
All right. So, kind of playing off Darion's question a bit. I mean, Darion's response a bit about how he wouldn't feel comfortable, you know, with a woman being the primary breadwinner because of the role he's given himself. Do we think that society has made it hard for men to accept being the stay-at-home dad, the submissive parent, things like that? And let's say that opportunity was presented to you today, could you actually accept it? Now we know Darion's gonna say he can't, but there's no problem with that. Everybody has their role that they accept, but do we think society has added extra pressure to where it's harder for men to even consider accepting that?
Yeah, it's all about image. Like everything is image. That's all I'm gonna say. Everything is image. Like people think that, oh, because you look a certain way. First of all, the working force was the working environment was designed to break a household anyway. Like the women and man both go to different jobs, and you send a child to school. You're spending more time away from your partner than you're spending with your partner. That's why I say an understanding has to be made because as long as you are secure with your relationship, these little hiccups shouldn't be a problem. Like at the end of the day, if I work, let's say I work 5 to 2 or 6 to 2, let's say 6 to 2, and my partner works from no from let's say from 4 p.m. to whatever time. The time at the end doesn't matter. I only see you for 2 hours. So if the ultimatum was be with my partner who I only see for 2 hours or stay at home, if that was the only options I had, I'd rather stay at home just for the sake of our relationship.
Yes, society, honestly, society has made it harder. Because when you look at it, there's a lot of pressure for men to be in that leading role, but when there's the whole, okay, I'm an independent woman, I can do this, I can do that, and let's say, oh, the woman says, oh, I'm a boss. Well, there's a quote from a movie that I watched that had Jackie Chan and Jet Li in it. And it was about the Monkey King. Two tigers cannot exist, well, cannot rule on the same mountain. Two alphas can't be in the same spot. Somebody's going to have to give up that dominant role. And there's been so much pressure for the man to be in that dominant role that when the woman is, she's basically saying, I'm expecting you to be a beta. even if you are an alpha. And that creates a dynamic that makes it more difficult for both people, especially if that man is naturally an alpha. Now, if he's a beta already, that's a different story. But if they're both alphas, somebody's going to have to give up that alpha status. Even if they are alpha at heart, they're going to have to give up that alpha status within that dynamic because it cannot coexist. Even if it's only temporary and y'all play off of each other one moment, he's an alpha and she's the beta. The next moment, she's the alpha and he's the beta. It's going to have to happen one way or the other, but you can't both be alphas at the same time trying to rule the same area. So there's going to have to be some type of give and take.
Mike, I know you were about to say something, but I gotta ask this follow up. So,
All right.
Darian, based off of what you just said, if you and your significant other, wife, whoever, are having a debate, are you saying for you it has to be the woman that's giving up her alpha status in your household? Like it's more relatable and acceptable for you to have her give up that alpha status if you even acknowledge she's an alpha?
Personally, in my household, yes. Now, I'm not saying it has to be like that for everybody's household, but me, yes. Why? Because I'm already putting myself in that position to lead. Yes, I do expect you to follow. Now, in order for me to lead, I have to be willing to listen to those who are following me. That doesn't mean, oh, you do what I say, you do what I say, you do what I say 100% of the time, because that's just a toxic leadership. And that just goes beyond relationships. That's in the workplace as well. Like a leader has to be able to listen to their followers. But at the same time, I'm if I'm at the head of the household, if I'm leading, let me lead. If I need to listen to my followers to make sure that I can lead properly, then guess what? I'ma listen. I'ma I'ma shut the up and I'ma listen. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to lead.
Mike?
Now look again, you asked him the right question. If he would have gave a wrong answer, I would have said something. But yep, you good. Look, look, bro, you
I
was
really can't host. We know what you're doing.
hey, look, man, cause
Now,
Darian, you was finna walk into a room of endearing contradictions for yourself, but you cleared that one up. I give you that one, bro. Cause you was gonna get hell. Oh, that from us. But oh, you was gonna get hell for your first take on this one. You was gonna get some hell.
I've had a lot of time to think about that perspective. So
I can tell you good, bro. Like you was like,
now let me say this. We kind of talked about how a man would react in those situations in a couple of these questions. And the reason that I did it like that is because, again, with it being Women's History Month, how much harder are you willing to accept that it is for a woman to have to take on that role? Like, how much are you willing to accept that the fight that they had to do to get acknowledged as an alpha or to get to the spot of being the primary breadwinner? Is it how does that society pressure play, and should any of that be normal?
I I can answer this one because I've actually thought about this one since 2012. This is a great one. I really, genuinely, and honestly, and truthfully believe that women are better leaders when they don't allow their emotions or egos to get in the way. Because yes, women have egos, right? But
And yes, men have emotions.
judging by society, right?
Hmm.
They're not gonna give women these leadership positions because of emotions, which is an issue because society is run by emotions. Because why? You see angry men on your screens. You see angry men talking about gender roles. You see angry men talking about this, that, and the third because they don't, I'm not gonna say they don't know, but they're unable to unidentify a submissive woman or an independent woman or a woman that sees gender roles or can be communicative in a way to express how they feel about this role under this roof and under this alpha. But to backtrack on when Darion said two alphas on one spat, it can coexist only if the top alpha acknowledges the fact that both are alpha and they can go, oh, I can be beta for a little bit. Because keep in mind, I just said I was a stay-at-home dad. Because even before being a stay-at-home dad, I 100% was right there with your perspective, Darion. That's why I started to go for the questions, because you started to tap in where I done already switched. I was like, bro, you about to jump ship, but they're gonna drown you. You jump ship, but you.
I'm a lifeguard, sir. I can't be drowned.
Nah, you'd have been all right. You'd have been Jack would have survived the Titanic if we was all right. You'd have been all right for us. But back in the day, yeah, Jack deserved to die with your first response, bro.
I mean, but to I guess to further jump into what is being said in the group call, like, yeah, I've been playing the nice guy role the entire time. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not about to say that the mean, but it's like sometimes you do gotta look at things for what it really is. Like, and this comes from a guy whose family is predominantly women. I do think it is hard for certain guys to leave leadership up to certain women because the thing about women, and I'm only speaking from an outside looking in because I can't speak on women like on behalf of women. But growing up around them a lot, like literally that's like the entirety of what I've been growing up around. So it's like at least I have an understanding of like how certain things are. Never the full because I'm not a woman. But in my opinion, a lot of men have a problem conceding the quote unquote leadership role, the top dog, is because of women being so against the stigma that they've been labeled as, and it creates an environment where they're overly tough. Like I myself can say this. Hold on, because I gotta explain this, otherwise it won't make sense. I've worked at a job where a man was a secretary or a secretary type position. And I've worked a job where I was in a warehouse and the woman was my warehouse leader. Neither one of those things worked out because as a man, well, from our generation, I can't say now because our generation, men were more so designed to be hands-on. And a lot of women have a problem with that, and they think that we're being, too masculine, we're being toxic, we're trying to mansplain our way through stuff. It's not about us being too toxic or too masculine. That's how we were designed, quote unquote. And it creates an ability to try to solve. Because like for me, when I'm stressed out, I go figure something out. Like when I get stressed out, I go play a puzzle game. I go play the hardest game I can find. Like that's my way, because my way of de-stressing is figuring things out. And a lot of women, they gain, and it's a scientific fact. Like, I mean, science can't always be proven to be 100% accurate, but they do studies. So it's whatever. Men gain testosterone through problem solving, and women gain estrogen through vocalizing the problem. And until people really understand that, we'll never have a coherence for where one person can at least understand. And that's why I say it goes back to insecurity. But back to what I was saying before. When you're in a job where attention to detail matters, I would give it to women because you focus more on the things that we tend to ignore. Like even if you look back on, I don't know what you believe in, but if you look back into like prehistoric times in a sense, as a man, we're not designed to see color the same way women are designed to see color. We're designed to see movement. So if we're in the wilderness and we see something move, that's our sign to strike. The color of the animal doesn't matter as long as the animal's moving. That's why men, we're so stuck on what can we do and how do we do it and what's the quickest way we can do it? Versus women like, hey, let's get into the detail of things, which is why when it comes to jobs like warehouse, certain manual labor jobs, like a laborer in general, construction is not really designed for them. Not saying that they can't break the stigma and be in there, because I know some excellent women. I'm just saying the overall nurture of it all is like, well, nature and nurture of it all. It's like you're in a job where a brick could fall on your head. If a brick fell on Mike's head or Darren's head, I'm gonna go make sure you're all right. And then I'm gonna laugh at you and then watch you walk back to the forklift and get back on the forklift. If I worked in a position where the woman was a teammate, because I've had it's happened, and a brick fall on somebody's head, they're going to sit there and make the big deal about the brick. Like, are you okay? Are you not realizing that regardless of if somebody's hurt or not, as long as they're able to keep moving, all that time spent calling this person who's, I guarantee you is okay, look how much time is wasted. You see what I'm saying? So, and when it comes down to being like going back to the secretary job, not saying women are only secretaries, not what I'm saying, like lawyers, certain doctorates, certain just certain fields in general that require attention. I'd rather it be a woman. In regards to somebody serving me, like if I had to go somewhere and get a service where I wanted it done right, if it was an attention to detail type job, it's a woman that I would rather have with me because I know that nothing's going to get skipped over. Because I'm not trying to they're not trying to figure it out in the sense of just to get you out of the way. They legit want to know exactly what's going on. That's why what I said earlier about if my partner has to have the skill to take notes and to document and to set up dates and times, because I don't have that skill. My job, get up, go to work, get home. Your job is get up, go to work. Is the sun okay? Are you okay, babe, at work? Like, I don't know anything. I don't even care. I can get, my foot can fly off. And as long as I can get home, that's all I care about. Like that, that's how it is. So back to what I was saying, and I don't want any women being offended by what I'm saying, because I'm not being offensive at all. It's just a matter of not being so butch about the way you approach things, and instead just take a time to understand sometimes it's a generational thing where you have a different belief than we have. So you're not always equipped to do the same things we're equipped to do. You're never going to find a guy that was born in 1990s and deal with a woman that's born in like 2010s and think they're going to work out in the sense of both of them trying to take over a manual labor job. That's not going to happen because that's not how that person was raised. It has nothing to do with the guy. It could be any guy from that generation. Any guy that knows way around the hammer, you're going to have a hard time stripping the leadership role from him. And that's my take on it.
And Taylor, to answer your question, you said over the years women have been put in leadership positions, have shown that they are basically, in lack of a better term, worth their salt. I am never going to deny anybody, man or woman, their accolades. Hey, you deserve your flowers, and you can have them. But at the same time, if I'm in a position to where I have to evaluate your skill set so I can know whether I'm going to follow you or at the very least try to lead myself, it don't matter whether you're man or woman. Prove yourself to me. Prove that you can lead, and I will gladly follow until I can lead myself in the direction that I know I want to go. It doesn't matter whether you're man or woman at that point. Just prove yourself worthy with your own skills. I don't care what accolades you say you have in the past. Prove to me in the present that you still have those skills, so we can move forward. Because what you did in the past, yeah, something could happen to where you may not either have those skills anymore or have those skills, but there's a reason you can't perform them at present. Any number of things can happen. If you can prove to me right then and there that you have the ability to not only lead, but lead properly, you got no smoke out of me. Now, when I have enough skill set to lead myself, I'm going to let you know, like, hey, me and you have reached a point to where I can now diverge on a different path because where you were taking me, you have taken me as far as I'm willing to go with you. Now I need to go in a different direction because this is what I'm trying to do. I need to lead myself. Thank you for what you have done. I have nothing against you. You have shown me what I needed to know. Thank you for leading me in a position to where I can now lead myself. And I don't give a hoot and holler whether you're man or woman. I'm gonna give you your flowers regardless.
Hey, this man said hoot and holler. But
I
I
was about to
digress.
say something else, but I have to keep it PG-13 for the channel.
Not just PG, but PG-13 specifically. Got you. You're muted again. Welcome to my world.
Shut up. I was about to check if Mike was going to say anything, then he keeps going off camera.
My bad. But just to intervene with everything. So it's same as what Jeff was saying, is like it really depends on the generation and era that someone was growing up in. Cause like me as a 90s person, right? I'm already stuck with the belief that when I walk through a door, that secretary or receptionist better be a woman. Like I don't want to see no old crusted man that's not about to pay attention to that detail that he's talking about, because they're gonna go through details. Like today, right? I went to go. Oh, that's my shadow. Sorry, I thought it was a mosquito eater. Um, I
So,
went to go get a
bro,
car, right? I went I went to go get a vehicle, and when I went to go get insurance, one thing I noticed about these insurance places, nothing but women work at these desks, right? Right. So basically, the building is a front lobby. So when you got to talk to this woman is going to go through the details. She's going to ask you the right questions. Same as you, Taylor, how you just got Darion to spill his entire damn cup.
hold on, Mike. Before you say what you gotta say, I just need to be clear. I don't think a woman has to do anything. I was just saying I prefer. That's all I said.
That's my preference, but I'm not saying it's like, hey, like I'm demanding. I'm saying it's just like
like Jeff.
I
I'm like,
prefer
nah.
that that's because that's the era I grew up in. Because like watch this. If you call, like, if you are on a panic as a man, right, and you know that this is dire, and you call 911, I don't want to hear 911. How may I help you? I want to hear a calm 911. How may I help? I don't want to hear nothing that's gonna make me go, what the heck? Like I don't want to believe I'm dying no more, bro.
I feel like this gonna be the thumbnail. Everybody just like
Like
this.
because you gotta, bro, Jeff, you triggered this one. But I'm just saying, it's like, but
I
that's
mean,
why you.
my perspective.
But that's the same. That's my perspective as well, bro. I get it, because like this is what I'm used to seeing that. But I'm not saying that I'm not saying I'm not gonna mind seeing a dude as a receptionist or a secretary.
Take off, big
I
dog.
just prefer to not. Like I don't care. That's how I feel, because I'm so used to walking in, like us going to the NBA over in I didn't want to deal with the old dude at that computer. He didn't know what he was doing. None of them. They don't know what they're doing. They're trying to scroll. They're trying to get away from the screen. Like every guy wants to. But every woman that I have walked in to any DMV or MVA or any Department of Motor Vehicles has been a woman, because of exactly what you said, Jeff. They're going to pay attention to the details, going to ask you right questions, and they're going to make sure it's done. So when you move on to the next person, you either got to give a signature or a yes or no. That's
I love
it.
how
Like,
on Women's History Month went back to the stereotype of women are better with details, and y'all all have reinforced that in some way.
because we
I,
don't
I
see color.
In my opinion, though, but as you ask as a man, like, how do we feel about certain women? It's like we have to be honest when it comes to at least that.
correct.
But because I do see women, like for me, it's like I said before, it's like when I go certain places, I'm not gonna lie to you. This me being honest, and it's nothing to do with being a nurse, being a gender thing. It's not about that. But whenever I go for a checkup, or even if I go to the ER for something where I got to do something, if a man walks in the door, I'm weirded out by that. I'm like, I'm not talking about the full checkup. That's not what I'm saying. Like the initial pre-check-in where
Yeah,
you checking in the vitals and all
they
that
taking
stuff.
your vitals.
I would be like, if it's a guy, I'll be like, that's weird to me. Like, and it has nothing to do with a nurse. It's not about it being a nurse. It's just about the detail. Because what happens when the male doctor walks in? Oh, how you doing? Okay, this and the other. Can you bend over? Can you cough? Can you touch your toes? And then they slide out the door in like 3 seconds. I'm like, You want to know my name? Can you buy me dinner first? And rub it all on me? You know, like, that's the point I'm making. It's like the ability to slow things down and have an understanding of stuff is significant.
I'll give y'all a brief genetic history lesson. In a lot of societies in the past where men were hunting for the food and the women were basically gathered in hunter-gatherer societies, genetically speaking, women had to be able to see color a lot better than men. Because if they didn't, that could literally mean the difference between life and death when it came to picking foods and other produce that literally grew from the earth. So when the whole argument in present day is like, oh, well, women see color better than men, yeah, that kind of states its effect because that is a genetic evolution that has kind of happened, and that has evolved into just attention to detail, period. Whereas with men, it, like Jeff said, it was the whole being able to see movement and our eyes being able to adjust easier and a lot quicker in the dark. That's more so of a solution based. It's like, okay, the problem is I'm in the dark, or the problem is there's movement. How do I solve this? Okay, eyes, adjust. Let's see where we are. Let's see what's around us so we can make a decision to either live or just have to settle for losing our life. These are things that have genetically happened. Like, these are genetic evolutions that have come into play throughout history through tens and thousands of years, to the point to where now it's not just a physical evolution, it is a mental evolution. And now it breeds out through our perspective.
So this is where I'm gonna push back. You and Jeff are both bringing up genetics. Fine, that's cool. Y'all know y'all science. Science wasn't my subject. However, when you're bringing that up, like with Jeff's point, it would weird him out to see a male nurse taking the vitals, but he had no problems with the male doctor that was done in 3 seconds. Should that be normal? Because wouldn't the doctor have to pay even more attention to detail? Wouldn't the doctor have to be somebody that had to read the scans, make sure the nurses aren't misappropriating your meds, the dosage is correct, all the above? So
No, I got you.
is it because it's a leader, as in that scenario, the doctor is the leader of your health, that it's more normal? And should that be normal? Because if it had been a male nurse and then a woman doctor, would you still have felt better when the doctor walked in?
Well, and that's what I was saying, where it's like it's a bit of a weird way to answer that question. There's no straightforward way to answer that question without offending either party.
Right.
I know how this conversation came from. Would you rather be the support or the supporter? But this is important too, because it shows why it's hard for us to break that stigma. And to answer your question, where it's like, honestly, I don't care who comes in. As long as I can leave that room with everything that I came in the room with, I'm good. Like, and that's a real answer. It's not a PC answer. That's a real answer. But to completely answer your question, which like I said, is I can't. I'm gonna try my best to. Nah, because in reality, when it comes down to like I said, if I'm going into the I can't say nah, but I guess I'm just gonna answer the question as I'm going through. If I'm going into the ER, like, okay, so you know what a CDL is, you know, the ability. So a CDL is a license to drive a certain
Commercial
truck.
driver's license. You don't have to name
Correct. But before you get like a CDL stuff like that, you have to literally get the DOT. And the DOT is pretty much like just same thing as it's a small identification of you can drive X amount of vehicles or X type of vehicle, and you're pretty much able to doing your own. I can be wrong about the detail, but I have a DOT, so whatever. But the thing about the DOT is when you get it, it's more about your ability to take care of yourself when you're on the road. So the vitals are more important. So at this particular moment, I need the most focused part of my procedure to be the vitals. to me if I could do this, or I could do bend the reaches, or if I could do 10 jumper jacks without hurt myself. Can I fall down and pick myself back up? Can I do a couple squats? That's more important to me. So the part that required the most detail was more beneficial to the situation. But to answer the question about the doctor, it didn't matter if the doctor was a male or a woman. I'm just saying when it comes down to both of them having, just based on the conversation, both of them having to be different genders, like, it would be weird for me to have somebody that's getting the initial me to be the quickest, most sped past portion versus the part where, because at the end of the day, what a lot of people don't know is when it comes to doctors, and I don't care what doctor wants to get, like, they could challenge me on this because they know I'm right. Nurses are more important to the hospital than doctors are. And I'm saying this in a degree of
100%.
getting the information. When it comes down to procedures, right? This is what people don't know. When it comes down to procedures, a lot of doctors ask the nurses to come help them line this stuff up. They're already setting things up. Where most doctors, if you look at doctors, they're a doctor of a specific specialty due to the fact that they've studied that specialty. Nurses study everything. They have to do, a lot of nurses do a lot of things. Mind you, when a doctor comes, think about a surgeon. You know what a surgeon's job is? To do surgery. All that prep, that's not the surgeon. Only thing the surgeon does, mask up, sterilize, go in the room, do the surgery. And I don't mean to say only as if that's not the vital part of the situation, but that's all they have to do compared to what the nurse has to do. So when I want something that's done what takes more attention, I'm just saying from my own personal perspectives, it don't matter if you're a male or woman. I mean, a man or a woman. But I'd rather, when it comes to stuff that just takes detail, I would rather be a woman because I know how lazy I am. And I'm a man. That's the biggest problem when it comes down to who's in control of what. We're all thinking that we're weak because somebody else is better than you at something else. It's a lot of things I can't do. So if I look at my partner and be like, hey, bro, you drew that? But I look like I drew the jump with both my feet. I'm excited that you can draw. You can sing, I can't. Okay, you know what that means? While we riding in the car on a road trip, I'm listening to your wonderful voice. I could cook, but you can't. Are you starving? You're mad because you can't cook, but are you starving? Like, these are the things that really factor in. I know we kind of like deviated to a different point in your product, but like I said, it's like, that's very important to us. Where it's like, stop thinking you're lesser because someone else is greater at something else. That's what makes y'all complete each other. Just because I prefer a woman to be more in detail doesn't mean that if my wife, my girlfriend, my partner, whatever, decided to a meteor flew through the house, and I woke up and she had the Tim the Toolman belt on, and I was looking like the labor from Home Improvement, and she was able to fix said destruction, by all means, guess what I could do? This, being a job, having a good time, because that's like, it gives me the freedom to do it. Like, it's not about who can do what. It's about how you can handle the other person being able to do that. And that's your partner. What happens in my household does not matter. That's my household. It's not for him, her, and her to know about or the gospel. And if they do, so what? You're happy in your household.
And I'm going to divert us back because you took my question and ran with it. You're trying to host from the background. I get it.
Because I had to make that said.
He said, nah. Because I would tell y'all the truth. I
Y'all
can't do a
trying to
grocery
know
list worth a damn. Nah, because he right though. It's like I am trash. Like say if I do a grocery list, right? This is my grocery list. I got this item. I got this item. I got this item. I got this item, right? When my son's mother does the grocery list, she gets this item, this item, this item, this item, this item, this item, this category, this category, this category. This page is now starting a new category for next week, next month. Like, I can't do that. I will gladly push that cart around the store. I will gladly carry the heavy cartons. I will, because I know it's days when, say, if I do like 11 to 6:30 instead of a 4 to 11:30, I'm gonna come home, and I know sometimes, oh, hey, your food over there, this, that, and the third. All right, cool. So the wraparound, guess what? I might or might not hit the dishes. Like that's just, but to guarantee I should, I should. But again, it's like, right? It like it all depends because I'm not doing everything because I know I can't.
And women, y'all not off the hook either. Y'all not off the hook. Y'all not off the hook at
Oh,
all.
pull it back.
No, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Next
Let me tell you.
episode.
No. I'm only going to say this really quickly because, and it's based on what you said. It's based on the initial question that started this whole conversation. That's what
Got
I'm
you.
getting at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not off the hook either because as a man, because I understand why Darion was so steadfast on I have to be the ruler of my house. Because a few things can happen. I want to say two, but I'm not sure. It might be a little bit less, might be a little bit more. The stigma about a man being a stay-at-home anything, they're either lazy or they're soft. And I think both of those stigmas are completely hurtful because some people just need a break. But once again, that's based on society. That's based on how they make it seem. So it's like, it's hard for a guy to want to alleviate that leadership role because once again, it's an insecurity thing where it's like, dang, if I let my woman lead the household, what does that make me? And until we're able to have that conversation with women to get them to understand like why we feel that way, I guarantee you a lot of guys will be happy, just like me, with this in my hand all day without being called lazy, without being saying you're good for nothing, without being saying that you're not a hard worker. Like, what if I just needed a break and you were able to provide that break for me? Because the roles were reversed and I'm able to provide that break for you. Why can't I provide that break for you?
I have a story about that.
And I'm gonna stop the story because I have a pushback.
Same story real
Y'all
quick.
trying to change my women's history, and I'm not letting it happen. But
no, it's an understand. No, that's even
no, I'm being
perfect.
funny.
I'm helping
I'm being funny.
why we don't know, like why we don't understand women and why women don't understand us in a sense. Like,
being funny. But anyway,
I know.
The pushback is: do you not think a woman gets a stigma for being the breadwinner?
Yeah, it gets they do.
Because is there not a negative stigma attached to a woman being a breadwinner instead of at home taking care of the kids?
Yeah, they think they're what do we always get? Oh, you're independent. You don't need nobody. So in a sense, we make you standoffish, and it's like we create a situation that creates it just creates a tense environment where it's like it's hard for you as a I guess it's hard for you as a woman, but it's hard for me as a man. It makes it hard for my understanding of women to be, oh, let me be able to do this without making my husband or my boyfriend or my partner feel weak or feel lesser. Or I don't want to be looked at as I'm too tough, I'm too strong. So I end up being single in life because I feel like I got all the responsibilities. So I understand, like, and that's only becoming from a man. Like as a man, I can only say, so I get it. Like I get it. And there is a stigma behind women, and it sucks for everybody.
Now, Mike, before you answer, because you brought up a couple times on this episode, you the stay-at-home dad, or used to be at some point. So, do you not think your partner or your co-parent, whatever it is, like, do you not think she got the stigma of you're not raising your kid?
Personally, no, and personally, no, because I know the reason I said that because these are two different perspectives, and I have to say it like that because I have a perspective of my mother, who was the breadwinner of her household. Because remember, I went to school in Maryland, and then I had the perspective of my father, who lived in D.C., and my dad was a nurse. So it's just like I've just been sitting back waiting for the question. So it's just like I don't tie into those stigmas prospectively because I've seen both my mother and father do this independently, which is why I was able to say no about the gender roles because I seen my dad do it all from the breadwinner to the cooking and cleaning for his children. So automatically that came down to equivalence of a mother's nurturing from cooking and cleaning to the children and for the children. So ultimately with my mom showing, same as Jeff, showing that we got these women that show that they can be alpha as breadwinners, leaders, cookers, cleaners, and partners, like my perspective is kind of voided with that entire thing of gender roles, because I have that same as why I said no and no. It just comes from that. I remember seeing this from my mom. I remember seeing this from my dad. So by the time I was able to become a stay-at-home dad, it was just like, all right, I've I've seen this before. So now that I experienced it with just one child, because keep in mind they had a handful of us, right? Literally a handful. It was five at least, right? And then it's just like how I saw them handle it is how I handled the one. So it is tough to endure that stigma, but to relate to it is just like, all right, let me see what else. Let me see what other perspectives are coming with it, because I can't really initially relate to those perspectives.
But in general, do you not think that society did put, or it was normal for society to put a stressor on your partner because she was working and not being the one at home?
No, I think we do it to ourselves as individuals. That's where I think it comes from. I think so as an individual, and then we go out into society, and we look at this, we be like, I relate to that. I relate to that. I get what they mean. I get what they mean. Is because we did it to ourselves already. So it's just like with with all of us already having these outside perspectives, and then now stepping into where we are, we're gonna see it's like, oh, that's what we were all talking about. That's why when Jeff got to talk about, him growing up around women, and then Darion speaking on his perspective as a man, it's just like I can see exactly where they're coming from, because I've seen it for myself and I've done it for myself, which is why I said no and no. I didn't want y'all to just laugh at that because it was a real answer, but like I just think we do it to ourselves. Like the stigma is created by society itself.
Now, I'm gonna throw in this just because, you know, Women's History Month and I took over. But you know, as a woman in today's society that was raised by a single woman, I watched that stigma my entire life. And it was, okay, why are you single? Why aren't you married? Why aren't you at home more? Why are you working so hard? You should be taking care of your kid. Like, why don't you have a man yet? All those type of things do get attached to those women who work hard to become, have enough that night they don't have to worry about money or whatever their reason is for pushing so hard for that job. So then when I was growing up, a lot of the things directed towards me were, oh, you're not going to be good enough because you weren't raised by your mom. There was never a conversation of dad coming into the picture. It was, your mom works so hard, so you don't see her, so you don't get to do the pageants and the mommy daughter dances and whatever. And that was a thing that was used to bully or press down on a child because their mother was working. So that's what I mean when I'm trying to get you guys to say, like, well, not say, but get you guys to speak on the stigmas that women do get for being that breadwinner
So I just
and
got a question
how
before you
we
answer this,
should
Jeff.
make that normal or not normal. But go
Go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead, Mike. 'Cause I was gonna be quick. I
All
was
right.
gonna be quick. Go ahead.
Me too. It's just a question. So my question is, as a young woman who was raised by a single mother, so and because I don't see this in you as a person, do you believe that some firstly, like one, parenting is just a sacrifice when it comes to your creative family. You sacrifice the entirety of who you are or who you think you are when you become a parent. Like, just to put that out there. So, but the question is, do you think that women who have daughters, or just single women that have daughters, they begin to compete with these daughters when they see that this young woman has the things that they didn't have at their age? So that also creates a stigma for society for women to become that role where they believe that they have to become the masculinity of a father as a single mother.
That was for me, right? um, I would say that, yes and no, because you do see some women do it. I'm not going to say that's what I saw often, but that doesn't mean that's not a normal in society. You do see a lot of women do it, but I'm not going to say that's majority. Um, because for me personally, like the women in my life that were single moms and things like that, that never came up. They did remind you had to work harder to get closer to what a man was getting, but it was never a, ignore the fact that there's a man contribution. So I think the women that do that have been so either hurt, harmed, or whatever by a man in their life that they now take that trauma and put it on their daughters.
It's funny because
But
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was saying because it's funny because the way you ended that was how I was going to start what I was going to say, where I was about to say, it's a generational thing where it's like well, I don't want to bring this up, it's going to start a whole new conversation, but trying to figure out how to say it. Well, yeah, so it's just a generational thing where it's like we keep using same thing goes for what I said about I like this aesthetic better. Same thing goes for when I was talking about how you got a person born in a certain generation, a certain year, versus a person born at a later year. You create a difference. You create an imbalance of what made you you. So now you're competing with, well, I'm gonna do it myself, and you're competing with society told me to do it myself. And I'm like, that's not how that works. Like, there has to be a give and a take. So for what you're saying about how we view single mothers, it starts with their mother's mother. It keeps trickling down, and they keep spreading the worst thing about what made them. It's like people have a tendency of dwelling in drama and trauma. So we take the worst thing about being a single mother and we keep passing it down. Well, I did this because I didn't have anybody with me. Okay, so then your child does it, and then she does it, and then she does it, and then she does it, and it keeps going down the line. So you're creating this rebellion. When in reality, if you look at it, most women really have the man's back. Most men really have their women's back. But once again, you're challenging what I was taught through action and through survival versus what society is telling me to believe. Because nobody's telling single mother they had to deal with any of that. And I'm more so referring to the stigma. But because we keep passing down, same thing go for men. I'm not making it about men right now. We tend to pass around the worst quality. Or let's not say quality. We pass around the worst set of information. And people learn that. That's why I tell people all the times, like for me, if I'm ever at hard times with people, I don't speak bad about them. Because when that person comes back around, I don't want y'all to view them in a bad light. So that goes for being a single father, being a single mother, being anything. Don't pass forth that information that made that situation so bad. Focus on the good of it. What good came out of it? Were you able to successfully raise your child? Were you able to make ends meet? Yeah, we get that you had a struggle, but don't pass that on because now your child is thinking, I'm never going to let that happen to me. So against all odds, they're going to make sure that doesn't happen, even if that means disrespecting somebody because they don't meet your standard. But I tell you all the time, a standard is just an initiation. If I get to know you, my standards deplete because maybe you may lack a certain understanding because you got to remember, for however long, let's say I'm 27, you 27. You've been on this planet 27 years before I got the chance to meet you. So my life starts with you at 27. So whatever information you come into this with, that's what you were raised with. So that standard of your information, that information that you were given is like, it's up to you to either think, okay, my partner's worth more than that. So I'm able to like dissolve that set of information that I had, or be rebellious and just fight back against it, become a stone wall. And then you wonder why it's the cycle continues. Just because your mother was a single mother don't mean you got to be a single mother. Just because your father was a single father don't mean you got to be a single father. Let's start talking about the things that made us complete the task. How did you get here? You know?
Yeah.
Jerry on Mike, final comments.
Okay,
I
so
feel like we're
story
gonna keep
time.
going into
since I never got to say it while it was still relevant to the conversation.
I'm sorry.
Jeff was saying
Really?
that there's a stigma to being seen as weak or incompetent when it comes to a man being stay at home, or in a sense of not having that power. And he was stating how he can see how I got that perspective. This story kind of reinforces that perspective a little bit. So to everybody out there, pretty sure you all know, but once upon a time I was married. Not anymore, but we were going through some things within the marriage, and I was also going through some things within the profession that I was in at the time. Wasn't exactly going through a great time because I had some outside stressors and traumas that kind of just made everything kind of culminate to the point to where, yeah, physically I was able to function, but mentally I was this close to not being here anymore. Like breathing, like alive. And I tried to express to my partner that, hey, right now, I need you to take the reins. Because if I keep taking the reins at the moment, I don't know how much longer I can keep pushing on because I have too much that's kind of just bunching up to the point where I cannot function. I can't think straight. I can't do my job straight. It's making it more difficult to interact with you and our young ones. And the response that I got back was, if you give up this power, you're never getting it back ever again. And it was already agreed between me and my partner that between me and her, I was the head of our family. So when I was literally asking for a brief reprieve so I can come back, fill up my cup so I can pour again, I was told that if you give me the cup, you're never getting that cup back. And when I was told that, that sat to the point to where I never want to put myself in that position again, to where if I'm going to be at the head, I need to be at the head with a partner who I can be able to have that give and take with, not who's just going to straight out say, oh, well, you don't want to lead anymore. Okay, okay, fine. You don't have to lead, but just know that if you don't lead now and you let me lead now, you'll never lead ever again. And those words kind of traumatized me on a psychological level. Like it made it difficult for me to even want to continue that situation, even want to lead, even though I knew that if I didn't, not only would I not meet the standard that we set for our relationship, I wouldn't meet the standard that I set for myself. So that also put more pressure on me because of the mindset that my partner had at the time. That's it.
On that note, I'm gonna just close my side with to anybody watching this, learn to understand that every relationship is a partnership. Your words matter, your emotions matter, and your perspective matter. But if you don't get your friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, whatever you label your partner as, your colleague, coworker, if you don't get them to completely comprehend who you are, when your feet start moving, acknowledge that, because that that that's important too. Acknowledge when you're not being acknowledged, and that will balance out any relationship between any people.
I
Let's
guess I
sign
got a
off a
closing
little
remark.
here.
Yeah, I got
Huh?
you.
Nah, I got it, but I mean, you're as a panel member instead of a host this time.
I know
God
my little
dang
final
it.
remark. I got you. I'm gonna let you wrap it up. But my final remark is just based on everything I said, like don't like everybody got to take things for like what it is. Nobody on this panel is wrong about their own perception. That's how they feel, and that's what this whole platform is about. But I would like to take this moment to like, uh, I'm not gonna go through the names because I don't want to be one of them guys that's corny and be like, oh yeah, like I pretend to know what I'm talking about. But let's just take this moment to just give a shout out to all the women that brought us here, that got us to where we are. At the end of the day, people that probably may not make it to this point in the video, they're probably thinking we're attacking women, which if you really listen, we're not. We're explaining to you as men why we don't understand. And, just makes people know, because on the next episode, same thing, we're going to dig deeper into something else. But right now, just take a moment to just like say thank you to everyone that was here to help us out. Give a shout out to especially the inventors, because a lot of things that we have in history, it's like we probably wouldn't be this. I've been using this the whole time. Wasn't invented by one of us. So, let's just keep it there where it's like just don't disrespect the opposite gender all because you don't understand it. So show some respect because without us, we wouldn't be here, but we wouldn't be here without them either. And so it's like nobody's greater than the other person. It's just better have an understanding of each other. Just I don't know. I think it just goes full circle for me.
I like how you still can't help but give a host type ending. It's okay. We still appreciate you as you are. But we just gonna close out this episode by saying like this is how these conversations get started. Gender roles are a thing that everybody still fights against in society, whether it's traditional gender roles that you're fighting from your family, or gender roles that you're fighting in society, or even the workforce. Like gender roles are a thing that we may need to change how we view them and what gender roles are normal if they are at all. But having these conversations and kind of nitpicking at the guys and making them kind of say why they don't understand something is important to help bridge the gap between men and women. Like you can say all day long men are from Mars and women are from Venus, but if you don't ever start discussing that, you're never going to understand each other either. So this is a way to get that started. And this has been a Taylor takeover of Normalize You. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Thanks for watching Normalize You. And don't forget to catch me every other Friday with your question of the week. And you can send in questions as well. Please reach out on our social media or our email and send us your questions, your topics, your responses. We actually do read them. Hope to see you there.
Should it be normal for men and women to have friendships, just platonic friendships?
I think it is. It's normal. It's a normal thing. Because everybody can be friends with anybody. It's just I think the gray area that people don't often pay attention to, and it kind of descends from the last topic where we were saying it's a sign of respect, and it's the sign of just like a conversation, like communication. Because if you didn't have this friend or these friends before we were involved, what's so important about having them now?